What's up everyone, and welcome to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome back. My name is Yvette. So in today's video I'm going to be cutting my hair. I do want to start off by saying that I am not a hairdresser, I am not a hairstylist. This is just what I do and this is what works for me. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen like the unicorn cut before, or if you haven't, that's what I'm going to be doing today. I have seen a lot of like fails on other people where it didn't work for them, so this is definitely not for every hair type, but again, this is what works for me. I'm definitely overdue for a haircut. I usually try to cut my hair every 4 to 6 months, and it's definitely been a lot longer since I last cut it. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do is detangle my hair. And I know there's a lot of different opinions on if you should be cutting your hair when it's dry, when it's wet, when it's still styled. But again, what works for me is my hair being dry and detangled. That way I'm able to see the shape that I want. Alright, so when I'm detangling my hair, I like to use a brush like this where it's pretty evenly spaced out. So if you were to use a comb, if you aren't too careful, it can cause breakage and damage if you're being too rough with your hair. So definitely use something that has a lot of bristles that are kind of evenly spaced out. Even like a wide tooth comb would be really good. So when I start to detangle, I always work from the bottom and then work my way up. The reason I like to personally cut my hair when it's dry and when it's brushed out is because I'm able to see the shape of my hair a lot better when it's dry versus when it's wet. So as you can tell, even now, you can see that here's like where the bulk of my volume is, and where I actually want it to be is up here, so more like a shape like this. Versus when my hair is wet, my hair is pretty much just looks straight, so it's really hard to tell where my shape is. All right, so now we are almost ready to cut. I do just want to let you know what you need. You're gonna need a hair cutting scissor, you're gonna need a hair tie, and you're going to need a brush. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is going to bring all of our hair into super high ponytail. Alright, so before your cut, these are the things you're going to want to make sure. Just make sure your ponytail is as close to the front of your head as possible. Your hair has been fully detangled, and then you're ready to cut. So I'm about to cut about that much off. Oh, that seems a lot of hair. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit less actually. I can't decide now. Okay. Here we go. Damn, that's a lot of hair. Okay, it's okay though. Y'all, I do this every single time. I always end up cutting way too much hair, but it's okay. All right, so I want to just try to clean it up a little bit. And I also know that a lot of people cut their hair this way, which I'm sure is fine. You can also do it that way, but honestly, I'm just a little lazy, so I just cut it straight across. And because my hair is more on the curlier side, you can't really tell as much. Curly hair is a lot more forgiving when it comes to haircuts, so it's not gonna look as chopped up. All right, so that's good enough for me. So now what I'm going to do is just let my hair go. So it's not gonna look super even. We're going to fix that. Alright, so this is what my hair is starting to look like with just the first cut. And as you can tell right here, I'm starting to get shorter layers with just the first cut, but my end pieces right here are still super long. But we're going to cut this towards the very end. Alright, so for our next cut, we're going to section our hair from ear to ear. And I'm just going to put it in a high ponytail like I did for the first cut. All right, so now that we have our second section, what we're going to do now is just cut the same amount that we did the first time. Alright, so this is what it's looking like with the second cut. So at the very beginning, my volume was mostly right around here, and now it's slowly starting to come around this area. And I do want it to be a little bit higher, so I'm going to do just one more cut. So for this last cut, I'm just going to take the section around my crown right here and I'm going to just do the same exact cut. All right, so I'll say like by where your pupils are, that's where you're going to want to grab the hair. And again, just put it in a high ponytail. All right, so for this section, I'm not actually going to cut just as much as I was doing for the others, just because I have already been cutting from these sections. I'm actually only going to be cutting a little bit of hair, so I might just do about that much for this section. So this is what my shape looks like now. So again, my volume was down here, I came up here, and now it's right around this area. So I'm getting a lot of a rounder shape. And I'm really loving the shape. It's definitely giving me a lot of a rounder look. I'm getting a lot more layers throughout my hair. And now the last cut is actually to cut the ends. So as you can see, this is where my last layer ends, just about here. So I'm going to cut my ends just where that last layer falls. I'm going to just brush my hair and see where that last layer ends. So it looks like it ends just about there. So this is how much I'm going to cut from my ends. Okay, and to test if I cut the even amount, what I'm going to do is just grab these two ends and pull them towards each other, and it should be kind of a straight line, which it's not exactly perfect, but for me it's good enough. All right, so now let me just show you the back of my hair. So again, you can still kind of see that shape, the brown shape. All right, so now I'm going to finish styling my hair, then I'll be back with the results. All right, y'all, so here are my results. Honestly, these are actually my results after like about a week after I filmed the video. So after I filmed the video, I had to run home super quickly, so I didn't have my camera, but here are the results. I absolutely love it. I love the shape. I love the volume that I have now. One thing I will say though, because it was a little bit longer, I was having like a little mullet situation. I actually took some pictures, so I'll insert them up here. And as you can tell, the cut just looked really choppy and it just didn't look right. So I did just take some of my hair and start cutting different sections. So I'm gonna show you exactly what I did to make it a little bit better. All right, so we're gonna have to work with this lighting, but as you can see, this is my shape now and it does look a little bit different. So as you can see, my hair comes in now. And the reason that happens is because when you bring your hair all the way to the front, the last layers don't really get cut. It's usually the shorter layers towards the front of your hair that get cut, and that's the reason why the end parts don't really have too many layers. So what I did to fix that was I took the last layer that I had. So let's just imagine this was the last layer. I took this piece as a guide. I wish I would have recorded this before, but I just didn't have my camera. But I took this bottom part, again, remember there were no layers here at all. I took this, dragged it outward a little bit, and then at a diagonal. So as you can tell, this kind of looks even right now because I already fixed it, but before it had a lot more hair coming out from the top, and that's what was causing it to look weird. So if you were to cut here at a diagonal and you let it go, you can kind of start to see that the layers start going inward. So that's what I did to fix it. So on this side, I did the same exact thing. I took that longest layer, whatever it was, used it as a reference. I grabbed my hair, pulled it outward, and then at an angle, I cut. So when I let go, you're gonna start to see like the layers start falling slowly. Just separate these curls, and you can start to see that shape. So that's what I did on the other side, and now I absolutely love my shape. I feel like it's so much better. So if you have shorter hair, you're probably not going to have this problem of this bottom layer being a little bit different, because when you cut your hair, you'll be able to catch all those layers. But if your hair is a little bit longer, then you definitely want to make sure you fix it up at the end. So two things: start to dry cut very small pieces to make sure it's more around here, and then at the very end you want to make sure you fix your bottom pieces so you don't have like that mullet kind of look, which is completely fine if you want it. Make sure to keep it that way. You're done at that step. But these are my final results. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.